The quaint town of Santa Lucia nestled amidst towering mountains and verdant forests. In this idyllic setting lived a young girl named Amélie. Amelie's days were often filled with a profound sense of solitude. Her mother, Isabelle, worked tirelessly at the local textile factory, leaving Amélie to her own devices for much of the day. The absence of siblings or close friends left a void in her young life. In the quiet solitude of her home, Amélie's imagination blossomed. She conjured up imaginary friends and embarked on fantastical adventures. Yet as the sun began its descent, a sense of unease would creep in, reminding her of her isolation. Amélie possessed an imagination that knew no bounds. A simple cardboard box could become a pirate ship sailing the high seas. Dolls became her confidants, their painted smiles reflecting the stories she wove. Among her many creations, Liam held a special place. Liam, with his unruly brown hair and sparkling blue eyes, was Amélie's constant companion. Though Liam existed solely within the confines of Amélie's imagination, his presence brought her a sense of comfort and belonging. One gloomy afternoon, as Amélie played in her room, she stumbled upon an ornately framed mirror tucked away in a dusty corner. Its silver surface was tarnished with age, and strange symbols were etched into its frame. As she gazed at her reflection, she noticed something peculiar. It was the grin of Liam, no longer confined to her imagination, but staring back at her from the depths of the ancient mirror. Amélie's breath caught in her throat. The grin on her reflection's face widened, and it winked, a silent invitation to a world beyond the glass. "Hello, Amélie," a voice whispered, soft as a summer breeze, yet chillingly close to her ear. "I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." Amélie's initial fear gave way to a hesitant curiosity. Liam, even confined within the mirror's depths, felt different. They spent hours talking, their laughter echoing through the once silent house. Liam told her stories of faraway lands, of brave knights and mythical creatures. With each passing day their bond deepened. Amélie found herself looking forward to the quiet afternoons when it was just her and Liam. Their games became more elaborate, their imaginations weaving together to create worlds within worlds. Liam, bound to the mirror, could manipulate the light and shadows within the room, creating illusions that danced on the walls. Yet there were moments when a flicker of sadness would cross Liam's face, a longing in his eyes that mirrored Amélie's own yearning for companionship. A new resolve began to blossom in her heart, a determination to find a way to free her friend from his glassy cage. As the days melted into weeks, a subtle shift occurred in Amélie's world. Isabelle, observant despite her long hours at the factory, noticed a change in her daughter. Peeking through the crack in the door, Isabelle's heart clenched. Amélie was sitting cross-legged in front of the ornate mirror, her brow furrowed in concentration as she spoke. Isabelle's mind raced, a whirlwind of concern and disbelief. Could it be that the mirror, a relic from her grandmother's house, was more than just a dusty antique? Doña Carmen, her hair as white as snow and her eyes holding the wisdom of generations, listened patiently as Isabelle recounted the strange occurrences in Amélie's room. "The mirror," she murmured, "it has always been a source of both wonder and worry in our family." Isabelle listened, her heart heavy with a growing sense of dread. The mirror, once a source of amusement for a lonely child, now felt like a menacing presence in their home. "We must be careful, Isabelle," Doña Carmen warned. Armed with her grandmother's warnings, Isabelle resolved to uncover the truth behind the mirror and the spirit trapped within its depths. She knew that somewhere, hidden amongst the remnants of her family's past, lay the key to unraveling the mystery of the mirror. Despite the unsettling whispers surrounding the mirror, Amelie found herself drawn deeper into her friendship with Liam. He was her constant companion, her confidant, the brother she never had. Their bond deepened with each passing day, a tapestry woven from shared laughter and whispered secrets. Liam became Amelie's anchor, a source of unwavering support and unconditional love. Amelie, in turn, became Liam's window to the world, her descriptions filling the void left by his spectral existence. Yet as their bond grew stronger, a shadow of melancholy began to creep into Liam's eyes. "What is it like?" Liam would ask, his voice barely a whisper. Amelie, her heart aching for her friend's unspoken longing, would describe these sensations in vivid detail. But her words could never fully capture the essence of these experiences, leaving Liam with a bittersweet ache. One evening, as Amelie recounted her day, a change came over Liam's face. "There must be a way," Liam whispered, his voice filled with a newfound strength. The thought of freeing Liam filled her with a joy she had never known. Ignoring the knot of apprehension twisting in her stomach, Amelie squeezed Liam's reflection in the mirror. "We'll find a way," she promised, her voice firm despite the tremor in her heart. Isabel found herself caught in a tempest of emotions. Her days were spent navigating the mundane routines of their lives, her mind a whirlwind of worry. Fear for Amelie's safety warred with a mother's fierce love, yet Isabel couldn't shake the feeling that Liam was more than just a malevolent entity. She would often pause at the door to Amelie's room, listening to her daughter's animated conversations with Liam. She had to make a choice, to confront the unknown and risk everything, or to cling to the familiar, even if it meant denying Amelie the happiness she so desperately craved. Driven by a mother's love and a growing sense of urgency, Isabel immersed herself in her grandmother's journals, her fingers tracing the faded ink, deciphering the cryptic entries that spoke of ancient rituals and the delicate balance between the mortal realm and the spirit world. Each page she turned was a step deeper into a world she had never known existed, a world where the lines between the living and the dead blurred into a delicate dance of shadows and light. The musty scent of old paper filled her nostrils as she pored over the brittle pages, each word a breadcrumb leading her closer to understanding the bond between Amelie and the spectral Liam. The journals were filled with tales of spirits, of love and loss, and of the thin veil that separated the two worlds. Isabel could feel the weight of her ancestors' knowledge pressing down on her, urging her to uncover the truth. Nights were spent in hushed whispers with Doña Carmen, their voices barely audible above the crackling fire. The old woman's stories were a lifeline, a connection to a past that held the answers Isabel so desperately sought. They spoke of rituals performed under the light of the full moon, of spirits bound by love and sorrow, and of the delicate balance that must be maintained to keep the peace between the worlds. Doña Carmen, her eyes reflecting the flickering flames, shared her knowledge of ancient lore, of forgotten spells and the delicate art of communing with the spirit world. Her voice, though soft, carried the weight of generations, each word a thread in the intricate tapestry of their shared history. Isabel listened intently, her heart and mind open to the wisdom being imparted. Isabel learned of the spirit trapped within the mirror, a young boy named Liam, bound to the glass not out of malice but through a mother's grief, a desperate attempt to hold on to a love lost too soon. The story of Liam's entrapment was both heartbreaking and enlightening, revealing the lengths to which a mother's love could go, and the unintended consequences that could arise from such desperate acts. The knowledge brought a bittersweet ache to Isabel's heart, a mother's empathy overriding her fear. She could feel the pain of Liam's mother, the sorrow that had led her to bind her son's spirit to the mirror, and the unintended suffering that had followed. It was a poignant reminder of the power of love and the fine line between protection and harm. She discovered that Liam's spirit, while bound to the mirror, was not inherently evil. His presence was a reflection of his mother's love, a love that had transcended the boundaries of life and death. Isabel realized that Liam's spirit was simply seeking connection, a way to feel the warmth of the living world once more. He yearned for connection, for a glimpse of the world he could no longer experience, and in Amelie he had found a kindred spirit, a beacon of light in the darkness of his spectral existence. Amelie's innocence and openness had drawn Liam to her, creating a bond that was both beautiful and fragile. Yet Isabel knew that the balance was precarious. The connection between Amelie and Liam, while pure, was fraught with danger. The spirit world was unpredictable, and even the most well-intentioned actions could have unforeseen consequences. Isabel's mind raced with the possibilities, the potential risks that lay ahead. The spirit world was a realm of shadows and whispers where intentions could be misconstrued, and even the purest of hearts could be led astray. It was a place where the boundaries of reality were fluid, and where the living could easily lose their way. Isabel felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, knowing that she had to navigate this treacherous path with care. She had to tread carefully, to find a way to help Liam without putting Amelie in harm's way. The path ahead was uncertain, but Isabel was determined to find a solution, to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, and to bring peace to both worlds. Her journey was just beginning, and the answers she sought were within reach, if only she could decipher the clues left behind by those who had walked this path before her. As days turned into sleepless nights, Isabel found herself facing an impossible choice. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on her, each passing moment amplifying her anxiety. She felt trapped in a labyrinth of emotions where every path seemed fraught with peril and heartache. She could follow her instincts, to shield Amelie from the unknown, to banish Liam back to the spectral realm from which he came. The thought of severing the bond between Amelie and Liam was almost too much to bear. It was a decision that would protect her daughter, but at the cost of her happiness. The thought sent a shiver down her spine. The image of Amelie's heartbroken face, the joy extinguished from her eyes, unbearable to contemplate. Isabel knew that such a decision would leave a scar on her daughter's heart, a wound that might never fully heal. The alternative filled her with a different kind of fear, a terrifying leap into the unknown. Embracing Liam's presence meant venturing into uncharted territory, where the boundaries between the living and the spectral were blurred. It was a path fraught with uncertainty and potential danger. The ancient rituals described in her grandmother's journals were fraught with danger, a delicate dance between the realms that could easily tip into chaos. These rituals required precision and unwavering focus. Any mistake could have dire consequences, not just for Liam, but for all of them. Yet the thought of seeing Amelie and Liam together, their laughter echoing through the house, their bond unburdened by the limitations of their separate worlds, tugged at her heartstrings with an irresistible force. It was a vision of hope, a glimpse of what could be if she dared to take the risk. Isabel knew she couldn't keep Liam's true nature a secret from Amelie forever. The truth had a way of surfacing, and when it did, it would be better if it came from her with love and honesty, rather than from a place of fear and deception. Her daughter, wise beyond her years, deserved the truth, the chance to make her own decision about their spectral companion. Amelie had always shown a remarkable understanding of the world around her, and Isabel believed in her daughter's ability to handle the truth with grace and strength. With a deep breath and a heart full of trepidation, Isabel resolved to share what she had learned, to trust in Amelie's strength and the depth of the bond they shared with the spectral boy trapped within the mirror's depths. It was a leap of faith, but one she felt was necessary for their future. She knew that no matter what decision Amelie made, she would stand by her, her love for her daughter a beacon, guiding them through the shadows and into the unknown. Together they would face whatever came next, their bond unbreakable, their hearts intertwined in the journey ahead. The air hung heavy with anticipation as Isabel and Amelie, their hands clasped tightly together, stood before the ancient mirror. The room was filled with an almost palpable tension, a sense of something momentous about to unfold. The mirror, with its ornate frame and slightly tarnished glass, seemed to hold secrets of ages past waiting to be revealed. The flickering flames of candles cast dancing shadows on the walls, illuminating the room with an ethereal glow. Each flicker seemed to breathe life into the shadows, creating an atmosphere that was both eerie and enchanting. The soft light played tricks on the eyes, making the room appear as if it were alive, pulsating with the energy of the ritual. Doña Carmen, her weathered face a mask of solemn concentration, directed the delicate placement of crystals and herbs, her voice a low thrum as she recited the ancient words of power. Her hands moved with practiced precision, each motion deliberate and filled with purpose. The crystals and herbs, chosen for their specific properties, were arranged in a pattern that had been passed down through generations. Amelie's heart pounded against her ribs, a drumbeat echoing the ancient rhythm of the ritual. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her, the significance of what they were attempting not lost on her. Her breath came in shallow gasps, each one a struggle to maintain her composure. Her gaze darted between the shimmering surface of the mirror, where Liam's reflection flickered with a mixture of hope and apprehension, and her mother's face, etched with a love that transcended fear. The mirror seemed to pulse with a life of its own, the image of Liam wavering as if caught between two worlds. Isabel's eyes, filled with unwavering determination, met Amelie's, offering silent reassurance. Doña Carmen's voice rose in a crescendo, the ancient words weaving a tapestry of sound that seemed to vibrate through the very foundation of the house. The power of her chant filled the room, each syllable resonating with the energy of the ritual. It was as if the very walls were absorbing the incantation, amplifying its potency. The air crackled with energy, and the mirror's surface rippled as if disturbed by an unseen breeze. The distortion grew more pronounced, the glass seeming to melt and reform, creating a mesmerizing display. It was a sign that the ritual was reaching its climax, the barrier between worlds weakening. Amelie squeezed her mother's hand, her grip tightening as a wave of dizziness washed over her. The sensation was disorienting, as if the ground beneath her feet was shifting. She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to steady herself, feeling the warmth of her mother's hand anchoring her to the present. The room seemed to spin, the boundaries between the real and the spectral blurring as the veil between worlds thinned, shadows and light intertwined, creating a surreal landscape where the familiar and the unknown coexisted. It was a moment of pure magic, where anything seemed possible. And then, in a blinding flash of light, Liam stepped out of the mirror, his spectral form solidifying into tangible reality before their very eyes. The transformation was instantaneous, the ghostly figure becoming flesh and blood, standing before them with a look of wonder and relief. It was a moment of triumph, the culmination of their efforts and the fulfillment of their hopes. The silence that descended upon the room was deafening, broken only by the soft crackle of the dying candles and the sound of their own ragged breaths. Amelie stared at Liam, her eyes wide with a mixture of wonder and disbelief. He stood before her, no longer a prisoner of the mirror's depths, but a boy of flesh and blood, his features etched with the weariness of his spectral confinement and the exhilaration of newfound freedom. He reached out a hand, his touch sending a jolt of warmth through Amelie's arm. It was real, tangible. The confirmation she needed that this wasn't just another figment of her imagination. Liam was free. But as the initial shock subsided, a new wave of emotion washed over Amelie, a bittersweet ache that mirrored the melancholy in Liam's eyes. He was here in the physical world, yet a part of him remained tethered to the spectral realm, a constant reminder of the life he could never fully experience. Liam, sensing her sadness, offered a reassuring smile. He knelt before her, his gaze level with hers. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice husky with emotion, "for seeing me, for hearing me, for setting me free." In the days that followed, a strange new rhythm settled over the household. Liam, no longer confined to the mirror's reflection, was a constant presence, his laughter echoing through the halls, his footsteps a comforting counterpoint to the creaking floorboards. Yet there was a bittersweet edge to their newfound joy. Liam, despite his physical presence, was fading, his connection to the spectral realm drawing him back like a whisper on the wind. He grew weaker with each passing day, his laughter tinged with a wistful longing for a life that could never be. Amelie, her heart heavy with the knowledge of his impending departure, cherished every moment they shared. They spent their days exploring the woods surrounding Santa Lucia, Liam marvelling at the feel of sunlight on his skin, the scent of pine needles beneath his feet, the vibrant tapestry of the natural world he had only ever experienced through Amelie's descriptions. As the sun began its final descent, casting long shadows across the land, Liam turned to Amelie, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. He took her hand in his touch as ephemeral as a butterfly's wing. "Don't be sad," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the rustling leaves. "I'll always be with you, Amelie. In your heart, in your memories, in the stories we shared."